What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. It's me, Derek, and our good friend Sam. He's joining us. He may be joining more often. We don't know yet. He's a big Boise guy, so he's going to kind of break down eventually in this pod some of the Genty and, the possibilities of, Genty being a Heisman contender. So that being said, you guys ready to get into some of these games? Some of these arguments,
Oh yeah.
discussions?
Let me put the spotlight on me. Bam. There you go. Because I know I'm going to say all the good stuff. We gotta have the spotlight.
All right. We need to put a dark screen on Derek. No, just kidding. So let's start with the Vanderbilt game. From watching that game, for me at least, when I tuned in after it had started and I saw Vandy was up, and I was just like, I just want to finish this. I want to see what happens. I had picked Vanderbilt to beat the point spread, which was 23, and Derek over here was laughing about it last week, but I was curious. I wanted to see how close Vandy could keep it. I knew that Bama was going to come out in the third quarter and start, hitting them hard, and I wanted to see how Vandy would respond. And it was crazy how Vandy responded, how on a fourth down they threw a bomb deep into the end zone. It was awesome. They kept scoring.
He's going to hit, too, the pressure in his face to throw that.
I know, dude. It was awesome to see. Derek was trying to tell us that it was a fluke game. No, it wasn't. These boys outplayed them 3 out of the fourth quarter. 3 quarters. They outplayed them. Vandy was ready.
They won all 4 quarters. I told you they didn't.
Okay, sorry. They won 3 quarters. So anyway, That's not a fluke. That's just better game preparation and the will to win. That's what that was. Congratulations to Vandy. I had to watch it all the way through. Even when they got the ball again with a minute left or so, I had to make sure that they weren't going to fumble the snap or try to run a run play and fumble it like Georgia Tech or whatever Georgia Tech did. I think that's what they did that last year against who was it? Was that against Clemson or Miami? I think it was. Yeah, that Georgia Tech game. I was like, man, I got to make sure Vandy does not screw this up because it's so hard to believe that they beat Alabama because you're just waiting. You're waiting for Alabama to crush their souls at the end.
Dude, it's a scheduled W every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how much just with the new coach, just, did they just look past it or I don't know. But they just look into the next week.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Derek?
Okay. Here's the thing. 9 times out of 10, Alabama wins that game. Alabama lost that game. They threw an interception. They had bad plays. They would run. I think they had a punt, and eventually went back to Vanderbilt. Had a punt, eventually went back to Vanderbilt because I forgot what the flag was. A lot of mistakes. Face mask going into the second quarter. It was a face mask. I mean, you got fix those mistakes because a lot of that helped. And then it got so out of hand. I mean, it was 13-7 in the second quarter, but later on in the second quarter, Vandy scored, and it was getting close out of reach. And now Alabama's in desperation mode. We know what happens when Alabama's in desperation mode.
Exactly.
They can go.
We were all waiting for it.
I mean, look at Texas. They were in desperation mode when they played home. We already know what's going to happen. But Vandy just got lucky with all those mistakes Alabama was doing, and it led to that. I guarantee
that was not luck. That was not luck.
Any other game, they play Vanderbilt, they would have won. This was just
I agree.
A fluke.
It was not a fluke, man. They got outplayed. They got out willpowered. Alabama did not know what to do. They could not keep up with what Vanderbilt was handing them. Their defense, Alabama's defense, they're in trouble. Alabama's defense, they did this to Georgia too. This isn't a fluke. This happens to Alabama. They give up big points and big plays. Their defense is frauds. They got frauds on the defense. Sam, tell them they have frauds on the defense.
don't think they have frauds, but yeah, they've been struggling.
Yeah.
Also, can we
Yeah.
not shout out the fact that they put up the Nick Saban video on
Oh,
the
that's
scoreboard?
awesome. Yeah.
That's too good.
But you know about the mill row. He didn't row his boat this time.
Yeah. He wasn't rowing that boat. Is Milrow knocked out of the Heisman? Out of
No,
the
he's
after
like
No, I
this?
don't. No,
he's like
because
a
I
fifth
think
spot.
he's got
I
opportunities
think
to have a lot of Heisman moments that I think other
That's
people
true.
like. Cam Ward can do it, but I mean, it's just in the SEC. Like, there's just so much ranked teams. There's just going to be a lot of opportunity for him to have those moments, and we've already seen some from him. So,
Yeah.
like, you never know what to
mhm.
expect. But I think it's likely that I think him over Cam Ward personally. I know a lot of people have Cam Ward. They
Mhm.
kind of have Milrow last right now, but um, yeah, I think Milrow can do it. Can definitely rise,
Yeah,
but I don't think he can win it though. Well,
we all
we'll see.
we all know who the Heisman winner should have been. Come on, Quinn Ewers. If he didn't get hurt, now 2 games, he'd still
Hey,
be the favorite.
he's still listed. Yeah, no, he's still listed in the odds.
But
So
he's not getting it being 2 games out. It's not happening. I don't care how bad you beat Georgia, how bad you beat A&M, how bad you
Oh,
beat
whoa, whoa,
Oklahoma.
no! I disagree
all right,
with you
what
there.
if though?
If he crushes Georgia, he most
Not with
definitely is going to be in that conversation.
not with
Yeah,
a
If he
running back that's
crushes
getting 200
OU,
yards a game.
yeah.
like if they go on an absolute tear, he's definitely going to be in that conversation,
No,
Derek.
no, no, not with the running back getting 200 yards a game. By the way, we're going to talk about this later.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
get
yeah.
into that
We'll get more
discussion.
into that later, but
Yeah.
um, so Sam, do you think that this game was a fluke?
I mean, I think I
Don't
agree
say
that
it.
Bama should win 9 times out of
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
but I mean, but I agree with you in the sense that like just ultimate guts and like the will, like I mean, it's their Super Bowl kind of. I think
Hmm.
so. It's like I mean, they showed up and it's like and they finished. It's like we've seen other teams. Like I think back to the what was it, Kentucky Georgia game? Where
Yeah,
it's like comes down to the wire and it's just like you. I mean, some of that's coaching, but it's like they kind of lost the will at the end.
yeah,
And just the fact that Vandy was able to finish it, that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. It was, man. It was so cool. I was stoked. Yeah, it was awesome.
And I want to say I just love to see Bama lose because I'm a hater, but
Hmm.
like you guys have been way too successful. It's time to finally let somebody else
Yeah.
take a spin.
No, I
We'll
get
see.
it. I get it. So let's talk here. Does this hurt the SEC? I know it was an
Mm,
SEC game and an SEC loss, but the fact that the top SEC team lost to not the bottom of the SEC this year, but like what is generally considered the bottom of the SEC. Everybody, when they talk about the bottom of the SEC, Vanderbilt is that free game that everybody, talks about. No disrespect to Vanderbilt. We're happy that happened. But, let's be honest here. It's usually Vandy that we're talking about that you can't lose to if you want to have a good season.
Mm-hmm.
I think that with the expanded playoffs, it's not that much. It's not as big of a deal
Mm-hmm.
as it used to be for
Mm-hmm.
Bama to have dropped this. Like I
Right.
really do think that even with this loss, like there's still a good chance that they could make the playoffs. And so
They
I
have
don't
a
think
worse
overall,
chance.
I don't think it hurts the SEC. You
No,
think it's a
it
worse chance?
does hurt. It does hurt the SEC. I understand. The Big 12 looks great right now. They got all these undefeated, and yet they haven't played anybody. But so the only team Alabama has actually played was Georgia. The only
Right.
team Georgia's actually played was Alabama. You
Alabama.
know,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah,
about to find out what the Big Ten's going to be. Oregon, Ohio State. That's
Yeah.
coming up this week.
yeah.
So yeah,
So
Yeah.
So do you think Bama can get in with 3 losses? If they drop
oh,
2 more games, can they get in?
It depends on
oh,
who. I guess it depends
I
on who. That's
so I'm
yeah.
gonna I'm gonna pull that up real quick, but I'm pretty sure that they play Tennessee. Yeah, they play at Tennessee. They play at LSU. They play at Oklahoma. They play against Missouri at home. They play the end of the game against Auburn, and you know how that game could go. Like, let's say that they beat Tennessee, they beat Missouri, They beat
Where's OU
LSU.
ranked though? Yeah, where's OU ranked if they lose to Texas though? Like,
Yeah,
They're not
that's
even
the
ranked.
thing.
that's
So
actually
let's
even
say that
crazier
their
if they
two
win.
losses, like their two additional losses, are LSU and Auburn. So they lose to LSU for their second loss after beating Tennessee on the road, coming back and beating Missouri. They lose to LSU. They beat Mercer. Then they go and they beat. Did I say beat LSU? I meant lose to LSU. You come
And they
beat
lose.
Mercer. You beat OU, and then you lose to Auburn. Do you skate in there having beaten Tennessee on the road, having beaten Georgia, and hosting Missouri? I don't know where Missouri is going to be ranked, if at all, but I would
Yeah, they're on
still
throttle.
I would still
Well,
consider that a possible quality win.
if
Because Missouri will
they
probably
beat
be an
LSU.
8-9 win team.
If they lose to LSU, they're still in. If they lose any other games after that, they're not in because the Vanderbilt killed their three loss ability to get in.
So
If it
they're
was any other
automatically
team,
in with two, right? Two losses,
yeah,
they're automatically still in, no matter what,
yeah,
no matter where that loss is.
you can't have a Vanderbilt loss and get in with three losses. It's just like Notre Dame. You can't have a Northern Illinois and get
Well,
in with two losses.
I mean, unless you win the championship. What if it like think about the Pac-12 used to they cannibalized each other like every year. You know, uh, it was kind of hard to. It's like what happens if we get a couple of or like a 2-loss or 3-loss SEC champion?
It's
Like,
not gonna be a two loss a team in the championship because guess what? Texas A&M is undefeated. You know, undefeated in the SEC. They win
Yeah.
out for some miracle reason and lose to Texas. They're going to be one loss, and they're still getting in.
mm,
You can see a back to back Texas A&M Texas game.
All right, we'll get there, Derek. I want to see here with this Alabama situation, like what scenario can they get in with 3 losses, if at all? Like, Derek, do you see there being? Are you saying there's no way? Because I could see that if they significantly look better, and let's say Vanderbilt wins 8 games this year, I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's just say 7. If Vanderbilt wins 7 to 8 games this year, then and Bama loses at the end of the season, let's say to Auburn and like maybe at LSU, would
There's
the
no way.
committee have Alabama bias and put them in?
The only way that happens is Vanderbilt beats another top team.
yeah, I was gonna say
Then
I have to look at their
their
schedule.
game. They got
Okay.
Texas. They're not beating Texas. Texas in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Can you imagine though?
I know.
Oh
Wouldn't
my
that
Oh,
be
god.
that'd be
awesome?
bad. Can you imagine Texas
Yeah.
beating Oklahoma and Georgia, then losing to Vanderbilt? Then we're
That's
Oh,
what
all
I'm
that'd
going
be
to
saying.
talk about.
awesome.
Please, I just want
We're
chaos.
all going.
Chaos is
We're all
Please,
going to talk
please let
about
that
how
happen.
Georgia's just bad luck after you beat
Oh
This is how
Tennessee.
man,
You're
Boise
a
gets
Derek,
loser.
crazy.
we
This
would
is how
love to
Boise gets.
see your reaction to this. Oh man, we would
I'll
love
be
to
so
see
pissed.
all this anti Vanderbilt talk that you're coming out over here saying that they're just this fluke team and they take on the horns and take them down. Oh man, that'd be such a
Mm,
bittersweet moment.
yeah.
Okay, so what team cannot afford? Is there a team in the top 4 conferences that cannot afford 2 losses to get into
So
the
Big
playoff?
12, Big 12,
Probably Big
ACC.
12. Big 12 because they're going to consider them the weakest of the them in the ACC, but uh
I still feel like a 2-loss Big 12 team
Miami.
could get in.
Nope. Nope. They're getting.
No,
Nope.
you've already
Nope.
made up your mind, Derek. I see.
I'm not the only one making up my mind. Well, everybody thinks that.